Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another video on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. So today I want to talk with you about a couple of messages that are coming through for me. So I just started a meditation and I started getting these visions about the sun. Okay, so how I do a lot of my gathering information is I either go to God Source or I go to the Galactic Federation of Light, or one of the councils within that. And most of the time, I'm just asking, like, what information is the most important for me to share right now with my audience of star seeds, light workers, awakening souls? Like, what do they need to know about right now? What do you think is the most important thing to be sharing? Because they have this higher perspective than like what I would personally want to share, though it's not like I never do videos about what I want to talk about. Prime example of that was the very fun video called Fun with Spiritual Tools. That was like just something that I really wanted to share, demonstrations of how to use different tools. But most of the time, if I'm trying to do some kind of an energy update or really tune into like, I want to use my time wisely here and I want to share with you like what is the most important thing. Anyway, so that's what I did. I went to God Source first, as I always do, to connect. Before I go to meditate or channel, I always set up a sacred space so that I know that what's coming through is of divine origins and divinely true. So I connect to God's Source, have a little chat there, and then I felt guided to go to the Galactic Federation of Light. And I just asked them in the main central meeting room, not to a specific council, but to like all of the heads of state or the heads of different star nations that sit there in this like, it's like a horseshoe shaped row of these desks and chairs, and there's multiple levels. But anyway, I go in and I stand in the center of the floor looking at all of these different people behind the desks, and they guide me with like what council I can connect with or what information I can connect with. So I asked that question today: what does my audience need to know about? And then I just clear my mind to receive what wants to come through so that it's not coming from me. So I really clear my mind and I breathe and I make sure that I am kind of like a clear vessel. And then always what pops up is then always a surprise. So the first thing that I saw when I did that was a vision of the sun, like an image of a sun. And I was like, okay, where are we going with this? So I saw this image of a sun, and then I saw rain falling. And I knew in like my claircognizance, that deeper knowing that can connect things, that they were talking about the energy from the sun kind of raining down on earth, not actual rain, but like the energy from the sun raining down on the people of earth. And then I saw a vision of different suns, versions, and I understood that they were connected to the different dimensions that we are living in here on earth. So it's not just one sun for everybody. And I guess that makes so much sense to me now that I've seen that, because I know that because we are all living, and I talk about this all the time with you guys, we are all living simultaneously, like kind of side by side, basically, but in different realities, in different timelines. You can have a 3D person who is very connected to like mainstream media and the news and politics and the 3D world, right? And that's their life. And then you have like the 4D person on their timeline who's always looking into like the deep state and the dark agendas and the conspiracies of what's behind things. And then you've got the 5D people who are able to look at how the light and the dark work together. And it's a higher perspective of actually what's going on in a lot of ways. And there are versions of all, like there's multiple timelines of all of those too. So it's a lot of realities happening in this simulation, because it is a simulation that we're in. So, and I've got videos on all of this. I've got videos about simulation theory on this channel. I've got videos about descriptions of the different dimensions and what it feels like to be in each one. So we're not going to go too deeply into that because I don't want to repeat myself. But what I saw was that there are versions of suns for each one of those. So that's really interesting, right? A version of a sun for a 3D realm, a version of a sun for 4D. So as you're progressing up through the dimensional realms on your different timelines, the earth that you're in is different. Just like in a video game, back to simulation theory to describe this easily, just like in a video game, how when you go into the next world, you complete level 1. So you go into the next world, which is level 2, but you're still in the same video game. So it's still all the Earth simulation, but your level world 2 or 3 or 4, whatever level you're on, looks extremely different than the very first level, doesn't it? Different problems to figure out, different paths, different environments, different scenery, different tasks. It's just different. You're different too. Usually the character grows and evolves too. It's very much like that. Okay, so the sun is like that video game level. It is changing. The world is changing every time that we level up. Okay, it is a simulation. It is evolving with us. It is changing. So this is important right now because, well, first of all, so this is important because I noticed that I've seen in like social media, like a lot of people are really confused about why is the sun looking so weird and looking so different and changing. And that's like exactly why, because you are changing. It is changing with you. It's not changing for everyone. And that's why not everyone sees it or notices it. Okay. So that also makes sense. And then also this is really important because when I go to the Galactic Federation of Light and I ask them what they want to talk about, that's the first thing they show me. So obviously this is really important and affecting us right now. Okay, so my audience, that's what I asked for, a message for my audience. So that's what they want to talk about. So I started to receive through my meditation and kind of like channeling this information. And I realized that I'm not going to be able to write down in detail everything that I see, feel, hear, know, using all those psychic gifts. It would just be so much better for me to just get on camera with you guys and share it as it happens. So I did set up, like I said, the sacred space, and I'm just going to channel for you. Why do they feel like talking about the sun is the most important thing right now? Because really there's a lot of other things going on. We are in the middle of so many big things that are happening on the earth, including what feels like potentially the brink of another war. So why talk about the sun? Like there's got to be a reason for that. So I'm going to tune in now and find out. We'll find out together. Okay, so I'm going to start with connecting back to the Galactic Federation of Light and asking them to kind of refresh the message that I was receiving, and let's take it from there. So the sun, and then the rain, and then the different versions of Earth. And they're saying, and the sun is going to become more important than ever, because as we level up, the strength of the sun's ability to evolve us levels up. And do we realize just how much evolution happens through sunlight, through the sun codes, through ascension energies coming through? It's evolution, not only of consciousness, but of the physical being within. And if we realized how important sunlight was, every time we saw the sun coming out, we would run outside and try to bask in it for even just a few minutes. They want to talk about sun gazing, which is really powerful. You can take it in through your peripheral vision so as not to like blind yourself. You can take it in through your peripheral, or you can take it in through the times of like sunrise and sunset when the sun is not so powerful, and then you can actually gaze directly at it. If it's really high in the sky and really powerful, don't gaze directly at it, but take it in through your peripheral. I almost never want to wear sunglasses anymore because I understand how important it is now to receive that sunlight in through my eyes. It goes straight in through your eyes, even when you're not staring at it directly, because it's still shining down on you. And it goes straight into the center of your brain where your pineal gland is. And it starts immediately decalcifying your pineal gland, upgrading your pineal gland, and sending information through like encoded messages to your pineal gland. And this really reminds me of light language a lot, because light language, to me, it appears like sunlight in a way, because light language, when it comes down visually, what I see, like with my third eye, of course, is these golden shining codes that look like maybe Reiki symbols or Chinese characters. It's these little symbols all lined up in a row. And they kind of like come down from somewhere higher, and then they enter into people through their throat or their heart or whatever, pineal gland, through the eyes, whatever center, energy center they're needing that upgrade in. Okay, so they're telling me that like it's very similar. So light language is an encoded very much like sound message, like sound healing, because a lot of the time we're speaking it. So someone is receiving that sound frequency, which is encoded. Light language can also be drawn. And so then you're looking at it and you're receiving it through, like what if it's written on a piece of paper or on your screen, if you're seeing it written down, it's beautiful, encoded and powerful, written as well for you to take in through your eyes and through your mind. And what light language does is it bypasses the human logical brain. It bypasses the like egoic thoughts, logical brain, because it doesn't make sense. It makes sense to the soul, right? So it bypasses the logical brain that could try to figure out if it was written in an actual language that had language rules that you could like properly interpret as like a 3D human or whatever. It bypasses all of that parts of your brain and it gets deep. It goes in deep because it's a symbol, because it can mean something different to different people, because it is encoded. It bypasses the parts of us that want to argue with it and gets deep into our hearts, minds, souls, all of that. So they're kind of comparing light language right now to sun codes, which is really interesting. And for me makes sense because of the way that I've viewed sun codes. So they're saying that sun codes get in deep. They're saying cellular structure. So it's not just an evolution of consciousness that the sunlight helps with. It is a physical evolution of your actual cellular DNA structure. This is about becoming the new human. And there are a lot of people that have studied this, written books like Meta-Human, different like becoming the new human in the golden era looks like actual physical changes as well. So this was something that came through in, I think, the 2020 energy report that I did, where it was kind of not predictions exactly, but anticipating the things that were coming up for us in 2022. And one of those things was that we are moving from just evolving our consciousness in like energy realms, and it's now coming into physical changes for those of us that have been on this path for a long time, so many of you. Because, as we know, change happens in the energy fields first, but eventually it does come into the physical realm. Just like when you're trying to manifest and you see in the energy realms what you want. Oh, I want this abundance, this trip to me. I want to go to Sedona, Arizona. So that happens in the energy realms, in the etheric realms, in the thought realms first. And then to manifest it, I have to pull it down into the physical reality. That's what's happening with our spiritual awakening. It started as in these energy realms, working on our chakras, working on our energy bodies, working on our consciousness, working on our aura, all energy and frequency and all of that. And now many of us have been doing that for so long that it's now actually coming into the physical body and creating physical changes, which I talk about a lot in the video, Diamond Code Frequencies, which is all about the physical changes and becoming the new human. Okay, so the sun is becoming more and more important as you level up, as you move through timelines. You're moving up, not just through dimensions, you're moving up through timelines. You will see your life shifting as you move your timeline hopping. You're moving up to your highest timeline. And even that continues to expand and grow, right? What you view your highest timeline as right now, when you get to it, there's more. There's always more for the soul's journey. As you move up in that way, the sun becomes more and more, you become more sensitive to it, more receptive to it, and it becomes more potent, spiritually speaking. Okay, so that's really what they're bringing through right now. So I want to get back in tune here and see what the next message is that's coming through for why are we talking about the sun right now? How is this specifically affecting my audience? What do they need to know other than sun gazing, go out in the sun to progress your spiritual awakening and evolution from the energy realms into real physical realms? And that means in your body and in your life. When I say like in the physical, I also mean in your physical life, right? Seeing your timeline change, making those timeline jumps. Sunlight is a main factor in helping you to do that. Okay. But like when there's so many other things going on in the world right now, why are we talking about the sun? Because I'm sorry, but there's a lot of bigger things, which I would consider more important. So why are they giving me this to share with you and not something else? So there's got to be a reason why. They're saying because it can never be taken from you, first of all. It's not like what is the word I'm trying to say? Like it can never, no one can take that from you. You're always going to have access to the sun. So that is like a powerful force and a powerful tool and healing that you can always have available to you. The sun shines on the whole world. Everybody has access to it. That's so weird. Now they're moving into talking about flooding. Okay. So now they're showing me like that there are major floods going on in Australia, different parts of the world. And I'm being reminded too that like in that 2022 energy report that I did where we were talking about what to anticipate this year, we talked about natural disasters, but specifically floods, because floods are a washing away and a cleansing of energy. And so the floods are happening right now in the places in the world where the control and the manipulation and the crackdowns by these controlling forces and governments are the strongest. So that makes sense that Australia is experiencing something like that, because look at what they have been dealing with. Extreme darkness, extreme manipulation, corruption, control. It's a very like extreme. It's an extreme place to have that happen. Okay. And then they're showing me like solar flares and flashes also being a form of cleansing. Right? So, I mean, it's obvious to see the symbolism of like a flood being cleansing because it's washing away the energy. For a solar flare or a solar flash, when it kind of waves over the earth, flashes over the earth, it's more like a crackling electric fire-like energy that burns up or singes all of that dark energy, all of the things that are not for the highest good of humanity and their evolution, right? So the things that are holding us back in each level. And then again, they're saying that these solar flares and solar flashes become more powerful the higher up you go in your timelines and dimensions, because you are more sensitive to them and they are a lot more specific to the spiritual energy that you've started to live in. Yeah, and like showing me again the versions of the sun. So there's a 3D sun, a 4D sun, a 5D sun. There are different versions. And so the solar flares have different versions too. It's all very like dimensional. It's separate yet connected. Okay, so they've been talking about like clearing energy. Now they want to talk about releasing of energy. Oh, so you release the energy first and then you're able to clear it. So what we're seeing now with like the war style energy that's happening in the world is a release of pent up energy. So this release of pent up energy of like that pressure cooker where, you know, people can only take so much of being oppressed before they like rise up and explode with some kind of outburst. So we're seeing the rising up in the protests and the people rising up with all these different convoys around the world, convoys for freedom and against mandates. Now what that does is that's a release of energy. Okay, so it comes up, but now it's just here on the surface level and it needs to be then washed away. And that's where like things like floods, sun flares, solar flares, natural energy, nature energy, like Gaia's energy comes in and washes it away. And that's exactly what's happening with like a lot of the pressure and stuff happening in the politics and with war right now. So that was a people again that are feeling in some way they're feeling controlled, oppressed for so long that it rises up and comes to the surface, and it needs to be released. We need to release it from inside of us, inside of Gaia, inside of our social systems, like our political systems, our just societies, like even just countries themselves, all have their own specific energy signature. And in order to grow, as we all know, this is a dark night of the soul. This is a dark night of the soul for the entire collective consciousness of humanity. And through a dark night of the soul, you purge, you bring up, you release, and then you wash it away, and then you heal. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of the purge. This is the purge that's happening and has been happening for the last couple of years. And now we're starting to see things like extra solar flares happening, the Schumann resonance spiking, the floods, different things like that, that are all meant to clear it away, clear it away, clear it away. And then how we heal it is we come together as a collective in unity, right? We come together in oneness. We come together. The people come together in their ideas, in their societies, in their communities, in the idea of rebuilding, all of that. It's when you bring people together with their hearts, with heart energy, authentic heart energy, and the desire to be of service, not just to yourself, but to others. Okay, so not coming together in like manipulative ways that the politicians want us to come together with their speeches. I'm just thinking of like Joe Biden's State of the Union address, where he's like, I'm going to solve all the problems of the world and everything's going to be great. That doesn't feel like honest, authentic coming together, oneness, and healing at all. That sounds like more games, right? But all of this is the purge, all of this is the releasing. And then the clearing is the floods, the sun, the Schumann resonance, any other kind of natural disaster energy. Maybe we shouldn't call it disaster then, natural clearing energy. And then the healing is, it's in the people to do that. It's in our hearts. That part's actually up to us, right? We can have it released, we can have it cleared, and then we have to choose to come together. And that's why it's so important not to have that separatist mentality or view like, oh, I'm on 5D and I don't care what's happening on 3D. That is so important not to do that, because how do we unify humanity and build a new earth if you consistently ignore anything that's not on your level, right? I think it's really important. And I know I did talk about this in the video, how to be a light worker in a world in crisis. It's really important to be the sacred witness to what others are going through while still maintaining your beautiful high vibration and your own special timeline and, you know, your lifestyle that you've created. You don't have to sink down to do it, but you do have to allow yourself to connect with humanity. And I do that by being a sacred witness to what they're going through at every level. I like to be informed on every level. What's happening in the 3D? What's happening in the 4D? What's happening in the 5D and beyond? And being informed and then sending like love and compassion and healing to all of the levels, including my own, and unifying with people, finding ways that we can unify and come together. What is our common interest and our common goals? Everybody seems to be pretty passionate about freedom. So that's a way that we can all come together in talking about our freedom and our sovereignty and in expressing that in every level. And that's a unifying thing, right? Freedom is a unifier. Free will is a unifier. Love is a unifier. There are lots of beautiful frequencies that naturally unify people together. Okay, so what else is coming through? So this kind of just sounds like an energy update again for everything that's going on in the different levels of the earth in regards to like the purge, the clearing, and the healing. But it all started out with, for me, an image of the sun. So it's really interesting how psychic gifts work. It's very like, for me, it's symbolic in a lot of the ways. And then you get down to the claircognizance of what ties it all together. All right, so I just want to check in and see if there's anything else that the Galactic Federation of Light wants to share with this audience. So they're sharing with me now that it's very important, as we were talking about the changes that physically happen to the human body. So the evolution of now the physical vessel of the human. What comes next after that is more of your soul coming down into your body. And that is going to be a game changer and super powerful. So as you start out going from 3D to 4D into 5D, you start out with the evolution and the spiritual healing and awakening of your energy systems, your energy body, your aura, your chakras, your consciousness. That all starts to evolve. Then you get up to a certain point and it starts to happen in the physical body. Beyond that, once it starts happening in the physical body, what happens next is more and more of your soul comes down to live live inside your body. Many of us don't realize this, but we are living, like, especially in like 3D and stuff, your soul is not in your body most of the time. It's either hovering above or just in a little tiny bit. But as you upgrade the body, heal the body, release density, do your shadow work, you clear space and raise the frequency of the human so that the soul can come down a little further, a little further, a little further. And as it moves down, it upgrades the energy centers as you go down, like the crown chakra, the third eye, the throat, the ear chakras. They start to upgrade. The more the soul lives into the body, comes into the body and stays there to live. The heart. As the soul comes down into the body, the energy center that it touches starts an upgrade. And what does that mean? It means a purge, a clearing, and a healing before it can upgrade, right? So depending on where your soul is in the body, how far down it's come in to be inside the human body, you're probably experiencing symptoms in that space in your body. So if you're experiencing a lot of like throat issues, your soul's probably come down to like this point. If you're having a lot of ear issues, then the soul has probably descended into the body to that point. So, or heart issues, emotional issues that you're working through, you can kind of see like where the work is being done. There's usually one center in the body that's really going through it. And I shared with you guys before, like my solar plexus was really going through it for a long time. And now it's starting to kind of like clear up, which is beautiful. And that's a sign that my soul's like ready to move down to maybe the next center. And then I can imagine like the purge, clearing, and healing that will happen in my next energy center. Okay, so why that's important. So all of this is leading to basically like that ultimate goal of living as the awakened soul fully inside of a human body. That is a beautiful goal to have in this human life, and you can achieve that. And what that means is that a soul is made of life force, potent life force, magnetism, vibrancy, magic, like the wisdom. By you doing the work and slowly bringing all of who you are into the human, and then living as that complete and whole being, your life, everything in your life would just change. It would just get so powerful, like your manifestation abilities, your relationships, the kinds of harmony and ability to manifest your abundance. And I mean, and like new levels of what we call psychic gifts. That's a human term, psychic gifts. New levels of your soul gifts, new levels of your abilities to connect and express your magic. It's going to be so powerful. So that's kind of what comes once you start doing like the physical upgrades and clearing. This is why your shadow work is super important, because many of us, our souls are up here. We want to bring them down into the body. When you bring the soul down into the body, you also experience beautiful health, energy, vibrancy, having the energy and the inspiration and the ambition to go after your dreams and your passions. Like that's a soul-led body. So, okay. So kind of like seeing all of that leading up to that goal, which is beautiful. And so this all started with like how important the sun is to getting you to that place. Spend time in the sun. Allow the sun, take your sunglasses off, don't stare at it, but allow it to enter in through the peripheral, goes into your pineal gland and does beautiful, magical things for you. If you're continuing right now to work on the evolution of your consciousness and your energy, do it, go into it, lean into it more. Get to a place where you now feel those changes coming into the physical body, and you're seeing that, and you'll see that through symptoms. And again, check out the video. Maybe I'll link it up at the end. It's called Diamond Frequency Codes. That's about the crystalline human, changing our DNA and our cells and everything into that new human. We are evolving physically. It's real evolution that is happening. And if you are like me and you're not really like an earth kind of spirit, you haven't had a lot of lifetimes here, then what you've done is you've volunteered to come here to help a powerful species. Humanity is a powerful and important species, to help them through an evolution. It's a huge evolution that we're going through. It starts in the consciousness, in the energy, and it moves into the physical body. And we are here to be the way showers and the leaders of that for a world. So we have to go through it. and then teach on it, speak on it, and help people through that. So yeah, so powerful to see what's going on in our own bodies right now, and also seeing the earth mirroring that in the different countries. And again, each country has its own specific energy signature, but and its own evolution. Some are like a lot more evolved than others, spiritually speaking. It's not good or better or not as good. It's not a judgment scale. It's on how spiritually evolved it is with things. And what does spiritually evolved mean? It means being self-aware, awakened, having a higher perspective, putting moving out of like the selfish energy of only ever serving yourself and your own desires and needs, to understanding, yes, you have to come from a full cup, but you can be of service to others. Spiritual awakening, what does it mean to you? Maybe you could pop that into the comments below. But we are seeing it happen to each individual, and then to each country. And depending on where you live in the world, that might actually affect where you're at, right? So if you are living in a country that's extremely oppressed, you may feel the desire to move, or you may feel the desire to stick it out and really help that country lift up that dark energy. We are so connected to every single humanity. You can't disconnect from a human when you are one. You are connected to the collective consciousness in the main timeline. And we are also so connected to the planet that is our home right now. So you are connected to the nature energy. So these purges, even if it's not happening in your own backyard, you are being affected by it. When war happens across the world, if you're not literally in one of the countries that's involved right now, it still affects you. It still affects you. You're so connected energetically. We all are. So it's still affecting you. So that being said, when you heal and move through things, you can help even somewhere across the world because you are connected. So, and that reminds me of, like, I think it's called the Maharishi effect, where they did this study on people meditating on world peace and coming together in oneness and unity. And they saw that that rippled out really far and actually super affected crime rates. They dropped drastically. So we can come together in like the events that we do, like, make sure you're following me on Instagram because I do live events there, or join the membership group where we have events. When we come together as a community and a group and we do these kinds of things for ourselves and our own personal healing, and then for the collective of humanity, and then also for the planet, which is something that we do in my membership. We do all the levels of healing and evolution exercises. We are making such a great, grand effect across the board. So how long is this video? All right, I think I'll leave it there. I don't want to get too long on this. Now I have absolutely no idea what to call this video, because I thought we were going to be talking about mostly just about the sun, but really it expanded to being about so many things. So should be interesting to see what the title ends up being. But I just want to thank you for sitting in and just having these conversations with me, holding space to receive. I love your comments, so please, I receive them. So please share in the comments below how this made you feel, if it resonated, what your ideas are of the spiritual awakening energy, what does that mean to you, and maybe even how the ways that you are kind of giving back to the world right now with doing the soul work. We do the soul work in my membership. So again, if you are, a willing soul and really interested in being of service, but you don't know where to start, consider joining the Starseed Academy membership through the link in the description, because we are doing the real work. We are walking our talk. We are doing it every week. Every single week, we are doing something to benefit humanity and the earth and ourselves, right? Fun things too. It's not all serious. It's fun and it's interesting. All kinds of beautiful experiences. So check that out. If you want to work with me, of course, you can work with me in a one-on-one session. I'm still taking those currently. Right now I'm in the middle of teaching a course, but I'm going to be releasing another one shortly. So make sure that you are following me on Instagram, where you'll get a lot of those updates. So I love you all so much. Thank you for being here. And before you go, please remember, listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body you are in. Thank you, beautiful starseeds. Have a wonderful day. Bye.